poor wandering one. So what are we drinking?
Pike's Place. Gross.
That was like
Smooth and balanced.
what's that?
Smooth and balanced.
Smooth and balanced. Well, it's also in honor, I guess, of the Star Trek movie.
yeah, I guess so.
Is it?
Can be.
Why?
Captain Pike or Commander Pike or whatever his name is.
Okay. You gotta just take it over. Well, where'd it go? Where'd the bag go?
No, anyway.
Is it over there?
The who?
The bag?
Yeah, it's over here. Sorry.
No, great. Good job.
Couldn't hear you.
Good job. Over that loud music.
Over my busy mind.
Well, I'm glad something's going on up there. So that's good. Ouch.
This is pleasant.
Kind of dark.
It is kind of dark.
Well, we're missing one of our lamps.
Come again?
We're missing one of our lamps.
Oh, we can bring it over.
Where is it?
It's right there. Oh, you mean the big,
Oh.
big white one?
Yeah.
Where did that go? Oh, maybe I moved to the dining room, in the front room.
There it is.
It's in the front room.
This house was built with like 3 separate dining rooms, wasn't it?
Just the, well, no, that was the dining room over there.
the chapel.
The chapel.
hmm But the front room is kind of like a dining room.
What it is now, but that was the living room. I'm not.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then our current dining room is a dining room as well.
Well, yeah, the kind of breakfast area or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the proper
Breakfast nook.
term.
We getting started in just a minute. Reminder that it takes us a little bit longer now, having Mass over there and having an open office. So we'll get started in just a minute. Now, having Mass over there and having an open office. So we are live.
Live, we're audible.
It's alive.
Ooh.
Where did that go? Where did that go? Where it went?
Need one as well. Stressing me out.
Got this one, maybe-ish.
It's a Yankee
Oh,
Candle
we're-
thing, but... Oh my. How's everyone doing today? It's good to see y'all. Or good to assume that you're being seen. I'm confused.
Is you?
Are you going to Sabetha on Wednesday?
Me?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
talk
okay.
about that.
Sorry.
Who asked?
Debbie.
Frederick.
Oh,
I don't know who that is.
I do.
hi Debbie.
All right, so
The color looks pretty good today.
yeah, our camera seems right in the middle of things, but
Okay.
or not a camera. Or, I get those things confused all
Microphone.
the time. Microphone.
Yeah.
So, well, welcome everybody. Good to have you here for the chat. Welcome Monday morning. Welcome to June. It is
Yes,
June
it
now.
is
So, good to have you here. This is what are we in now? I guess our 4th month If we count just months that we've done. So March, April, May, June.
Yeah, we were into it, right?
Into the
Yeah.
4th month.
If you really consider the craziness began late February, didn't it? I think that's
Yeah, maybe.
yeah. So
People started getting panicky.
right.
And people,
Because I remember I was having a conversation with somebody at that point. I was hoping on a confirmation, and I was talking to somebody about, well, have you heard this thing coming out in China? And I said, this could be really bad. I was looking at some of the statistics. I was looking at some of the rates at which it is transferred, and that person was like, oh no, don't worry about that.
well, that's kind of my attitude, at least
Yeah.
at first. I mean, one of my, let's see here. Yeah, I think it was the weekend before, so March 3rd or something like that. I kind of said, hey, let's just take it slow. People are freaking out.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take away communion in the cup at that time because, like, people can use good judgment. And then I think the next weekend we got mandated
Yeah.
that you cannot distribute in the
No chalice for you.
no chalice for you. And so there's all kinds of things that are happening during this time that I never thought I would say.
So please know that is a reference to something else. We're not.
Yes.
No soup for you. No
No
soup
soup.
for you.
I don't know what it's.
Seinfeld.
That's
Seinfeld?
Seinfeld, right?
Okay,
Yes.
Seinfeld, okay.
Seinfeld.
Soup Nazi, isn't he?
Yes.
It's called?
That's
Mhm.
right.
No soup for you. No chalice for you. So yeah, I'm saying all kinds of things that I never thought I would say here in pandemic land, like don't come to church,
Yeah.
don't sing, you can't receive from the chalice.
Yeah.
All these things I never thought I would say.
I have to say, the not singing part has been a lot harder for me than I thought it would
Yes,
be because
yes.
I'll just be sitting there, happily, like playing with the camera as mass is going on, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Hello, yeah, I'm the fifth voice out here. Let's stop it." Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but I think so. This past weekend was our last weekend of Sunday First Communions. We are moving to Saturday. We don't have a whole lot of people signed up for our Saturday masses this weekend for
No.
June 6th. I think we have 2 or 3 for the English and 2 or 3
Oh,
for
really?
the Spanish. That's what
Only?
the last numbers I heard from Miguel.
Mhm.
See, in previous times, I might say, well, let's reschedule it. Let's do one bilingual mass. But then in pandemic land, I'm like, well,
It's actually perfect.
the smaller the mass, the better. So
Makes it
fewer
easier on us,
masses,
yeah.
most inefficient as possible. That's what we're about.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
But-
keep forward.
Keep it under 45 minutes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
That part be efficient.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
I've been pretty good. I might have gone 46 this past.
Yeah, yesterday
Sunday.
I'd have to look at my own self. I wasn't sure. I think it was just on the limit yesterday for
Yeah.
Spanish mass.
For Spanish,
because we had the sequence
we had the sequence and we had the Gloria.
and the Gloria.
which snuck in on us.
Oh well, yeah, it was a repeating Gloria.
I know. I was like,
Yeah.
it's
And-
never gonna end.
Yeah.
In the English mass, we've been doing the Apostles' Creed. In
Uh-huh.
Spanish mass, I haven't done that yet, just
Oh.
because I think that'll be more difficult in the Hispanic community. So
I don't know.
I just generally people don't know the prayers as strongly
Sure,
in the
right.
Spanish community. So
But people pray the. I think they pray the Apostles' Creed in the Rosary in the Spanish.
right,
speaking
right. But
community.
how many times do you give penances and they don't know the Our Father or something like that?
Well, that is true. That
Yeah.
is true. But those same people would not know the Nicene Creed either.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. So I don't know.
So
I don't know if I.
Yeah.
Maybe we should be switching to that, but and I'm not against it either way. I'm just trying to be prudential about what will actually take less time: explaining the Apostles' Creed or just doing the Nicene Creed. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we've been trying to do that.
There's a lot of. I guess what you can get from this whole segment is we're trying to balance out many different things.
We are.
Mhm.
We are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
trying
on a
to-
side note with singing, I just was thinking about, did anybody else have this rule at their household, or was it only for me? Singing was banned at the dinner table.
Was it?
Yeah, there was it was almost a written rule, but my
It was a
parents
what?
cited almost a written rule.
Oh.
So I was gonna say it's an unwritten rule, but no, it was far more than that. It was it was cited in my case on several occasions.
Shall not sing.
One
That's hilarious.
cannot sing at the dinner table.
Huh. I don't think that was a rule for
Yeah,
us.
didn't anybody else
Nope, not
have
for
trouble
me.
with that?
Maybe whistling, but
Whistling?
not singing.
Were you a big whistler?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like whistling. Really annoys my parents though, especially at the dinner table.
as many of my fellow office mates can testify, I am also a whistler. I find myself whistling a lot. So I don't know why that is, but I just whistle while I work, I guess. So, yeah. So it was a good weekend. I think. What happened on Saturday? What did we do? The Bible study. Then I had some conversations. I went to the hospital. That's right. So it's good. And then we
confessions. We had the
International Rosary. It was lovely. And then I forgot to post the Spanish theme there that we had recorded on Friday night. So I had that. So that was good. And then the concert last night. If you missed it, please tune in. It was lovely. It was by, I called them 3 sopranos and an alto. They were members of the choir who were singing and did a lovely job. It was a theme of Mary and Holy Spirit. So
very nice. I thought that the camera work was particularly good last night.
Really?
Well, at least at the beginning. I checked in at the beginning, and I thought the scene that you signed was
yes,
really
thank you.
nice.
Thank you. I felt good about that scene, too, with the little angel.
And that's all I really... I mean, the rest of it,
yeah, sure.
But that one was the one that really
well, thanks. Because I am always running the camera for...
I was trying to compliment.
I know. It's so rare, you know.
I'm not an excessive compliment.
No.
I compliment when I see fit.
So now I'm in rare form here on a Monday, I guess. But I was just training John a little bit of how to do some of the camera work and how to do
the... so the camera work is really bad over the next few weeks. You'll know why.
Well, it can't be any worse than mine. But so yeah, just in case you don't know, usually like at Sunday masses, if I'm celebrating the Mass, Father Ashmore is doing the camera work, and if Father Ashmore is celebrating the Mass, then I'm doing the camera work. But maybe we can get John doing some of that as well, and learn how to do the little program here that we run, our the Wirecast is what it's called. So it's just doing a little kind of training to that. It's not really that hard, but we also are trying to keep. I mean, I know that people are concerned about people touching the same microphone, touching the same equipment, so we're trying to avoid having too many hands touching that as well, and having someone that has to volunteer to run that, because we were trying to keep people out of the church, and so it kind of just evolved into us doing it. So, but that's where we are at the moment. But now that we're opening up a little bit more, we can possibly open that up a little bit more too.
Right.
But I always do have to be there because it is my camera. I mean, my computer that we have to run everything through. So it needs my fingerprint to open up and everything. So, how was your weekend? What are you doing? How are you treating this new level now of pandemic land and where we are and doing different things? So, hope you're having a good weekend.
Yeah.
Let me. Let me do my little thing here. So I'll go to the O-Camera. So again, go ahead and type in your, if you got any thoughts or if you got any questions, let us know. Bring them to us. So we'll be happy to address any questions that you might have today. Let me pull up the O-Camera and say hello to my nieces. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Rosalie. Hello, Laura. Look, John is back there too. He says hello.
Hello.
So, I hope you're having a great day. And I see that you got a swing set. That was so exciting. I saw you swinging. So that is awesome. And it'll be lots of fun. Rosalie, I know you're a big swing fan. Swing fan, yes. Enjoy the swing set. What a beautiful day it is to be on the swing too. So you can just go to your backyard all the time now and swing. And I also still have my little the Easter bunny thing that you made for me, Rachel. This it's time to put this away now because we're done with Easter. But I wanted to show it one more time. I love it, and I'm going to put it away. And I'll be so happy to see this little guy next year, where it says on the back, Father Kent from Rachel 2020, and I will be able to bring that out again next time. So I'm excited to see that. And hello there, Dryling girls, if you are watching. I hope you are also having a great summer thus far. Today, what we are drinking is Pike Place. John made it for us, so good job, John. We're putting him to work, you know. What do you get the seminarians to do? Hey, make us some coffee.
He'll be getting some laundry for me later today.
Yes.
On a side note, I think that segment should have its own song, because you always begin with hello, and there are many hello themed songs.
That's true.
Hello.
Which one would be best?
Is it me you're looking for?
Yeah.
Hello, hello. Did you ever see that Muppets?
What's that?
Do you ever see Hello Silent?
We need to think about
Oh.
All the hello songs.
Yeah. So
Hello,
but-
darkness, my
We
We could play this game back and forth. They play that game sometimes. They do a song that starts with hello. So play along at home if you want. So okay, so I did hello. Is it me you're looking for? Then you've got.
Hello from the outside. That one.
Hello, 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 hello. That's from the Muppets. They
Okay.
do the
I don't
the
know.
Nirvana song.
Oh, the Nirvana
to
song.
Barbershop.
Okay.
Barbershop. It's hilarious.
Okay. Hello, my darling. Hello, my baby. Hello, my sunshine gal.
Well, hello, Dolly. Well, hello, Dolly.
Let's see. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Dang
I'm
Here's-
going to see you again. Whoops, I should know those lyrics. Okay.
Here's one that's really unknown. Hello, my friends. How are ya? That's from the musical of Tobit.
it.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's cheating.
It
Any
is,
other hello
but-
songs?
I don't know.
Help me here, guys. Help me. Hello.
Do you got anything, John? Want to play?
No, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Is there any good Beatles song? No.
Hello, goodbye.
Hello, hello.
That's not a thing.
I don't know why
Yeah,
I say
say
hello.
goodbye.
You say
Say
hello.
Okay.
Goodbye, goodbye. I
Hello.
say
Yeah.
hello.
Hello, hello. Don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Um,
So you have seen the songs which we are considering. Vote on your favorite for that little section.
very good. Yes, the segment that should have a hello. Hello.
Exactly.
Hello. You went on an awesome hike. Good, Jen. That's great. It is a beautiful day out there. We have got it all blocked out for us right now, so we can't see anything. So we got our blankets and everything.
Mhm.
And then I saw that I think
Jen,
that-
Jen, I'm offended. It's getting weird. I believe it's been weird. Let's be honest.
That's great.
So it's getting weird. Yeah, I know. I mean, I think it took the weird turn at the famous birds are.
No.
Words are fake.
Weird, brilliant. Brilliant's everything. That's where that was like before that it was season 1. This is season 2.
Season 2.
We got
character
into new
change.
writers.
Brought J.J. Abrams in.
Exactly.
Need some more lens flares. So Debbie was mentioning that I think that means our salon in Sabetha has opened back up, but you've missed the Fireside Chats. Well, I'm glad that you've missed us. I'm sad that you were missing us. But I'm glad that you missed us. But you're going up to Sabetha on Wednesday. Huh?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Awesome.
Pretty sure.
Very good.
hmm Yeah, Andrew Gaffney, another seminarian. He's up in Sabetha.
Oh, yeah.
That is where we
Mhm.
sent him.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I
gonna
was
go visit
past.
him.
I was pastor in Sabetha and Fidelity in Wetmore. I was there for 2 years.
Okay.
And I see that Father Jamie has survived the 2-year threshold.
Threshold.
Yes, because I think he just finished his 2nd year.
Okay.
So congratulations, he's there for another year. So
Mhm.
it was a really hard transition because I really loved it up there. I came to love the people of Our Lady of Unity too. It just moving from one community to another, especially when you're not ready, especially when it just had been 2 years. Again, it would be just like if I were leaving now from Good Shepherd. That would be really hard. But I had a great time there. I really learned a lot about the rural community.
It's a hard word.
Yeah. It's also beautiful up there. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've been up there before.
Yeah, my family's from Nemaha County,
Oh,
Seneca.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
My mom's side.
What is your mom's side's name?
Beckman.
Beckman.
Or
B-O-E?
meeting. It'd be meeting actually.
Beckman.
Mueting.
Oh, I know a Beckman family.
Really?
Yeah.
But is it Beckman B-O-E?
It's BECK.
B-E-C-K.
And, yeah.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
I think that there's some B-O-E-C-Ks as well. But
I think you're right. I've met them.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Okay.
There are 2 Beckmans.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Nemaw County is beautiful. The rolling hills and the cornfields and everything. Just
Yeah.
it was a gorgeous place to live for a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Can imagine.
Is our friend coming back?
it wasn't real. It wasn't real.
Alright. So we told you that we have a bird friend who I thought just died over the winter, or maybe moved or
I
something.
thought he had too. Is he back?
We just heard a little clicking.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
We have a bird friend who likes to come and use our window for ricochet effects. I think he comes and he does it over and over again.
Uh-huh.
And it sounds like we just had a little bit of a visit one.
It's
I'm
possible.
curious if he's coming back.
Although it could be our friends helping us out with the deck. We're very grateful to Miguel, who's working on our deck. So
I think he's coming back this afternoon, isn't he?
I'm not sure. I think so.
Okay.
Sometime.
Oh, you know what I did over the weekend?
I think I do.
I gardened.
You did garden.
I've been gardening.
He's been a gardening fiend.
I've tried to use my gardening powers for the good. I didn't know it's so fiendly. Fiendly. So, I have been weeding some of our garden areas throughout the whole yard, and I planted some. We went and got some plants over the weekend. We got some citronella plants.
Yes, and carnations.
Carnations.
Autumn carnations and...
This is one of those moments when
Does it start with an H?
maybe.
No.
Maybe. They're pretty.
Yes.
We got some pretty flowers.
Well,
Hydrangeas.
he's dug up all the mint, which was no small task. Because we had a lot of mint back there.
I
and
was a mint murderer.
Yeah. That's right.
And I held no regrets. I did what needed to be done.
We had a lot of mint back there, and mint goes.
And it was at that point where it wasn't like, oh, I can control this. It was like, no, I have to start from ground. We have a dirt policy. If we have to burn the ground, we have to burn the ground. You know? We were like
If you
Sherman's
burn,
troops.
we
We were like
burn.
Sherman's troops leaving the south. So, yes. Oh, you're from Centralia. I taught Tuas at Centralia.
Oh.
That's actually where the Beckmans that I met were from
Okay.
too. I was trying to remember what town it was, but I'm pretty sure it was Centralia.
Okay.
Hibiscus.
I think they're hydrangeas.
Hydrangeas. That's
I
what
think
it
they're
was.
hydrangeas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Hula hoops.
we planted those. I got
I
some
did a
dirt.
ton of hula hoops.
But I was looking out there, and if you remember my, those of you who were watching that might have seen the Catholic Schools Week homily. I talked about those raspberries that I took and I threw away because they were so disappointing. But maybe I will go get some more because now we have it. We can actually plant them because it's already dug up. So I was suggesting that maybe I can get some raspberries back there, or
Perhaps,
some sort of berry that I could
Yeah.
pick and put into my cereal. It doesn't have to be raspberries.
Right.
But it'd be nice to have it.
Oh, the
nice to
raspberries
have
are
a-
my favorite of the berries.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The problem with the raspberries, I was looking this up this morning. I probably should have been praying, but I was looking that up this morning, and I'm just joking. And it looks like you have to have like a trellis for raspberries
Oh.
for them to really survive. Like if you really want them to produce, I think you have to have the trellis.
The climbers.
I think there are different types.
Really? Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think I was shopping when I bought them last year. I did a lot of talking with the guy and everything. But we could even put in a little trellis. You can buy those.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But we'd have to look into that.
We'd
But
have to
there
figure
there is a spot right over there that's left over that does not have hydrangeas in them yet.
Yeah. Exactly.
So.
We'll see.
It's a possibility.
Onega.
But it looks great back there.
No, there was. Is it Centralia? There was a. I don't know. Maybe it's not Centralia. It was near Centralia. There's a little Catholic church there that.
Yes. What is that one? It's near Wetmore.
I want to say it's St. Patrick's, maybe.
I think St. Patrick's is Onega.
Okay, no, that's not right then.
I'm not sure.
But we're talking like a little Catholic church out in the middle of nowhere that I taught to us at one point, and they had a little tiny community.
Yes, I would have to. I'm running a blank right now
Okay.
on my.
You know who knows
Nemaw-
where things are? Google Maps.
Google Maps does.
Sure. But St. Bede's. out there, I think, is in the middle of nowhere.
Hmm.
I mean, Fidelity is obviously as well, but there's one that's the curve. The next town over. from
Corning.
Wetmore. Corning. That was right. I was trying to
That's
think
what I
of.
was thinking
Yes,
of.
Corning.
Sorry, yes, the Catholic Church in Corning is where it's taught to us. I think is it St. Patrick's, something like that.
Maybe it is. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
I don't
Again,
know.
I've been out of.
If you would know this, so
I've been out of Neiman Marshall for, 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I was there 07 to 09.
Right. So going back to the whole gardening thing, I'm becoming an old man. I'm just thinking about gardening constantly. But I was thinking maybe if you wanted to put berries or something like that, we might take that area in the back where it's raised and make that into a little gardening area
Hmm.
on that side.
Mm.
Because then we have the flowers over on this side and then the kind of the gardening fruity area over there. I don't know, because it was just a thought that I had. Because it looks like the dirt might be a little better over there. I'm not sure. We'll think about that.
Speaking of old man, guess who has a checkbook now?
It's true.
Was that
Now-
Friday night?
So the story is a little over the top just because I knew it would be funny. But I had a checkbook in high school, I think, and I never used it, so I don't have any idea what happened to those checks. But I had a reason that I needed some checks, and so I ordered some checks. And as I got them in on Friday night, was it Friday? Yeah, it was Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
The way the checks were designed, it didn't fit right into the book immediately. So I was like, you know what? You know who'll really get amused by this? So I brought it up to Father Kent, and I was like, so Father Kent, I'm a millennial, and I don't know how to write checks. Can you take care of this for me?
I was sitting in my room doing my Bible, getting ready for the Bible study. Here comes this pathetic-looking millennial. Can you help me put my checkbooks into the folder? And I said, "Okay, you kids don't know what to do nowadays." So.
Right, who needs checks when you have Venmo or PayPal? I totally agree. I haven't used checks since I was like 19.
But you need them for some reason.
for
Yes.
one particular reason, and then, yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically moving some money, that sort of thing. And
Oh,
only,
okay.
But
Well, I still use checks for a few things. I still pay my credit card bills that way. I'm funny that way because some things I'm like cutting edge, like I'm live figured out a live stream and simulcast, and then some things I'm like I am so 1993. Yeah, like writing a check for my checkbook. I tried to get online banking set up, and I kind of do, but I don't know how to use it yet. So I always have to actually go into the bank.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
My bank doesn't have storefronts.
Really?
It's only online.
Really?
I don't want to do advertising here, but I'm very happy with them overall. You can always call them up if there's ever an issue. I talk to them within 5 minutes generally. And because they don't have any storefronts, their interest rates are really good.
Oh, okay.
So I've got a savings account through there that gets I think right now 1.5% interest on a savings account, which
Is that good?
that's really really
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Well, my dad got me into the Educational Credit Union back when I was like in 7th grade or something when they opened up, because my dad was a teacher at Washburn, so that was my first banking account that I opened up and so I still have that because I don't want to close that, because if I close that, I probably can't get back in. I don't know, but because it was the Educational Credit Union, I don't know if there's things that you have to have certain conditions. I mean, you had to be in. As I recall, you had to be in education to be part of the Educational Credit Union
That would make
to have an
sense.
account there.
Yeah.
Well, then that got swallowed up by this company called Azura. But that is very handy because it's just right over here on 87th and Quivira now.
yeah.
So that's
Oh,
practically
yeah.
the closest banking that there is around here almost. But then I also, speaking of Sabetha, I opened up account when I was up there at the Morrill and Janes Bank, thinking I was going to be there for some time. I wanted to support the local economy, the local bank there. I set up a bank account there, and then I was moved. But then there was a Morrill and Janes Bank that was pretty close, right there on Antioch and 63rd, I think. There was a Morrill and Janes branch. I'm like, well, it's still pretty close. It was pretty close to Our Lady of Unity, and then it was still pretty close to here. So I said, I'll just keep that one open. Well, and then that got swallowed up by, or they merged with Bank of Blue Valley, and so and now that is, and then they closed that branch, and then that is not closed. So I went in to try to set up the online banking, but you have to set up a password, which I did, but then I couldn't remember it, and now I can't get back in, and that's what it tells me that it's
Yeah.
wrong, and
Yeah.
so
I understand. I
Yeah.
understand. What was I thinking? Oh, anyways. So, Father Ashmore, you remind me more and more every day of my son. I hope you love your son. I'm just joking. Looking for any good book about St. Francis de Sales? Any recommendations? You know, I don't know any good biography recommendations of St. Francis de Sales. A lot of the 16th, 17th century saints don't have great biographies written about them. I don't know why that is. There's some good ones for John of the Cross that I know of.
Yeah.
There's one for St. Francis de Sales that I've seen that I think is printed by Tan.
I think I've seen that too.
I don't know anything about it though. I think the best way to get to know St. Francis de Sales is probably just read his works.
Yeah.
But it's not really any. That's not a biography, so that's not a good recommendation.
I have never been a real big biography person.
Oh, yeah?
I don't like really reading biographies.
I love biographies.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So and similar, I don't generally read biographies of the saints. I read like stories about their lives, but I wouldn't sit. That seems like a long time to spend on
Karen,
one person.
I assume you love your son very much. I was just teasing.
But it's just like if I were to read a whole book on one person, that seems to be a long time to spend on one person. I'd rather read like a collection of the lives of the saints rather than one biography, a book length of one person myself. So,
You see, what's
so I'm not the best
interesting is-
person to ask on this
Yeah,
one.
I enjoy biography because I think it gives you the internal view of historical events.
Sure.
So I've read a couple biographies of Lincoln. I love Abraham Lincoln as a figure. I'm just utterly fascinated by him. I really am. I love antebellum history. I love Civil War. We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah, yeah.
I just eat it up. And part of it's my dad. My dad does a lot with Civil War history, and he knows a lot about our familial connections to it. So I feel like I have a personal connection to the Civil War, and so I find it all very, very fascinating. But I really enjoy reading the biographies of persons involved in Civil War and antebellum politics. Because
Antebellum.
antebellum means prior to the Civil War politics. So, I mean, ante and then bellum. Ante means before, bellum in Latin means war. So,
I see.
yeah, exactly, antebellum. So for some reason that's the term that's been brought up in politics. But I find that gives you a far more nuanced perspective on the events, personally. Because, for instance, I'm reading, I'm listening. So I listen to biographies. I don't really sit down and read them, but I listen to them when I'm doing other things. And I'm going through the Shelby Foote's book, 3 books on the Civil War right now, and great texts, classics. But he does a really good job of going into particular characters so far that I've noticed, and so really discovering like who Jefferson Davis was and why he was making those decisions affects how you understand how the whole Civil War went about. And you see that. And now I'm not advocating for the South in any way. Please don't. I'm not. I am. My great grandfather fought for the Union Army. I'm as northern as they come, but I'm a Yank. But to see his historical perspective really nuances what was going on back then. To see that it actually, in many ways, pained him to do what he did. So I find it to be a very interesting way to study history through the lives of the great men, or great persons, pardon me, rather than historical narratives that can often just be the perspective of the author of the book rather than the persons that were going through it themselves.
Yeah.
So, Kansas.
Oh, thanks, Mom. A man of good zeal. And if my mom recommends it, I second her recommendation. She's a good reader, and I think she likes biographies. But
Let's see. Bleeding Kansas. I haven't read that. I'd love to read it, though. Covers Kansas entry into Union. I'd love to read that.
there's also, we were talking about, it's on Hulu. One of these days maybe we'll watch it. I love fake documentaries. I've talked about this before. I don't know if
Yes.
I've talked about it here. But we were watching a little bit of like there were some of the good. We were watching the what's the one with what's the Christopher Guest one?
Which one?
The theater one.
The theater one.
I don't know the theater.
Well, I was going to make reference that we're watching Spinal Tap, but I'm not sure if I want to recommend that on this show.
Do you mean the Mighty Wind?
No, I was thinking of Waiting for Guffman. That's the one.
Waiting for Guffman. Oh,
we did
I'm
watch
sorry.
Waiting for Guffman
Yeah,
several months ago.
Yeah, we did.
But I like that style. I always like a fake documentary.
Mhm.
But there is
The irony is so great in that.
Mhm.
It is. But there's also one about, it's on Hulu, or it was, is the Confederate States of America, CSA.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty interesting, and I love because they've got like commercial breaks where they show life in Confederate America. It was done, if I recall, by some local people from the University of Kansas. So,
really?
but it's pretty interesting, and it talks about if Lincoln. There's some shots of some old footage of him when he was sitting in his room by himself, regretting all the things that he had done wrong and everything, and he's an old man sitting there, and just the way that they captured the filming, I think, is really clever, and so they've got old recordings of him, so that's just neat. I think I like fake documentaries, and so it's actually, if I recall, it's a British documentary about the Confederate States of America. And so it's from that perspective, looking at the United States, if I recall. But it was interesting. I remember watching it several years ago. I think it was fascinating. I love that kind of style of a movie.
Yeah, they are called mockumentaries. It's true.
Documentary.
Yes, but that one's not really humorous.
No.
That one is more, there is some kind of, it's maybe, is it satire? I'm not sure what the...
But
But
it's
it's-
satire.
but it's not ha-ha funny. It's, oh, that's kind of disturbing funny, or...
Kind of black comedy-ish.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, it kind of. There's a good black comedy that came out a couple years ago, which was The Great Stalin or The Fall of Stalin or something like that. That talked about his last days, the death of Stalin. I think it was.
Okay.
That was a. I don't know about the historical accuracy of it all, but it was a black comedy. It was very fascinating.
Yeah, KU professor. So it was Kevin Wilmot.
Oh, okay.
He's KU.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in the film studies.
Oh.
He's
okay.
also been a part of some pretty big movies. Can't think of them off the top of my head for whatever reason,
But yeah, it was
but yeah.
it was pretty interesting, just the way that was done. So yeah, so it's kind of a mockumentary, but it's less like it's not like the Christopher Guest ones at all, which are pure going for humor. This one is going for what if.
Yeah, probably political commentary.
Yeah, yeah.
But I love that in movies also, like when they do often when they do like news reels for like even like an action movie or whatever, have these things when they're well done. I like that kind of thing too, or they look back on the life. Or I love that about like the Hunger Games with the whatever that character is called, who they're doing the live show with them before they go into the games.
Mm-hmm.
I love that kind of style, but this is kind of this fake interview show. I think I like something that I like.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Do you like biographies, John?
I am not a huge reader. I like to read, but I think I would prefer biographies, like especially if we're talking about saints, biographies over like lives of saints. I think when things get truncated down, especially in like Butler's Lives of Saints, you kind of lose sometimes like the real human aspect of a saint.
Sure.
You lose a little bit of their humanity, it seems like. You forget that they're normal people and make mistakes as well. And it's easy to get caught up in that and thinking that sainthood is extremely unattainable.
Walking around in a holy card.
Yeah, exactly.
No, right. I don't like. What's that called? Hagiography.
Yeah, hagiography.
Hagiography, which is kind of an exaggerated, or it seems a little
Yeah,
bit flowery, exaggerated sense of their saintliness, which tends to be a little bit unrelatable. I like a collection of saints that is not necessarily the Butler's Lives of Saints, which can be a little bit dry. It's like this born here did this.
Yeah.
But some interesting kind of fleshy more than just a couple paragraphs,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
a few pages about this person. I
Right.
like that kind of thing.
Right.
One of the best biographies of a saint that I know of is the Blue Book about John Vianney. It's a brick.
The Abbe Trochu or
Yeah,
something?
exactly. Trochu's
Trochu.
biography of John Vianney. That is a
Yeah.
fantastic book.
I've heard other people say that that's fantastic as well.
Mhm. I read that over the course of 6 weeks or so. I
Mhm.
think really fantastic. It was my before bedtime reading.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I had a friend last summer who read it, and he said that by the end of it, because obviously St. John Vianney passes away, it did feel like one of his friends was essentially passing away too. It was just kind of weird, kind of hard to come to the end of the book for him.
Mhm. So I love John Vianney in so many ways because he is such a surprising figure.
So. Mm-hmm.
People always want to put him in certain boxes. So people will say things like, "Well, he was at the bottom of his class, and he couldn't pass Latin, or he was a dumb priest." And he really was not dumb. He was quite intelligent, but he suffered at the hands
Muy
of
listo.
what's that?
Muy listo.
Yeah, muy listo. Es muy listo. But he suffered at the hands of the French Revolution and the educational problems that they had as a result of that. And so, in some ways, his educational problems later in his life were because of the French Revolution, in many ways, and the politics surrounding all that. What's that?
Keep going.
Okay. And what? You're smiling. I'm very confused.
It's kind of like some of the priests that were formed here, when the weakness of the catechism and everything that went to seminary back in the 90s and the early 2000s. It's not really a problem with the priests per se, but the educational system that was there at the time. So if you got these old pastors that are not so smart, I'm just teasing. But I'm just
French Revolution.
I'm in rare form today. But I was actually making a kind of a serious connection because I think that the educational system in the seminaries has improved, and I think that the formation and the education is better than it was back in my time. And so I think that yes, my formation was a little bit weaker, and so I do kind of resonate a little bit with John Vianney because it was part of the problem of the system and the revolution that was happening, and things were in a little bit of shambles back then. So, but I think we have made improvements there, and so I was just chuckling because you have commented before, like, well, back and you've been teasing. You've been teasing, I know, but there is a certain amount of truth to that too. Is that there was that visit by the Vatican? Or
there was a visitation by
all the seminaries, and they did kind of a reform. But that was in 2005, 2006. I was ordained in 2003. So that was after me, and they did some good reformations of the seminaries, and so. But that was pre-me, so I didn't have any of that stuff. So anyway, carry on.
Anyway, so John Vianney suffered at the hands of the French Revolution, and he embraced just utter poverty in many ways. His cassock that he wore all the time was threadbare, and he would walk around and people would want to give him clothes to wear, but he wouldn't accept it. But then he would go to the vestment shop and buy the most outrageous vestments he possibly could, because it was for the altar of God. And so they tell about a story that at one point a vestment maker in Lyon, I think it was, said that some strange priest out from Ars came in this thread-borne cassock and kept asking for a more beautiful vestment than that, a more beautiful one than that, more beautiful. And he's like, I don't understand. This priest seems, how can this be? But it's because he was constantly living in this, like, for himself it was nothing, but for others it was constant. And for Christ it was the most. He also was constantly rebuilding into his church, and so he built whole chapels into his church, and so he took his little church in Curie of Ars, in Ars.
He was the curate.
He took his little church in Ars and added like a whole chapel to Saint Philomena and all these. So he's this. A lot of people try to make a stereotypical image of him, but he breaks all the stereotypes in many ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's the patron saint for parish priests, and that's a great example
Yes.
too. And Father Charles McGlynn, Monsignor Charles now, who was at Curie of Ars. That's where I started. That's where I was for 4 years, and I think he tried to, in many ways, model that. He was always very generous to anyone who would come to his doorstep, and to do he would do renovations on the school or renovations on the church or whatever. But when it came to like moving the rectory or doing any renovations on the rectory, he said, no, I'm not going to do anything personally for us, for me. I'm not going to get new carpet or anything. So he lived quite humbly in his little thing. And some of us associates were like, there's a nice house across the street. Why don't we move there? I'm like, no. Okay. So, but anyway, it was just a good modeling of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Mm-hmm. So, and actually, in the year for priests, Benedict made him the patron saint of all priests.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he is patron saint of parish priests,
Uh-huh.
but he's also now the patron saint of all priests.
He's also the patron saint of our diocese.
That's true.
Yes, he is.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. The second, we have two patrons, right?
Yes.
Rose
Saint-
Opening Duchesne and
And
Saint
Saint John Vianney. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I am partial to Saint John Vianney because that was where
Yes.
I did my internship at Curie of Ars. So I was there for 6 months when I was a seminarian, and then I kept kind of coming back and visiting. So I kind of had 6 years more or less there at Curie of Ars. So
I have a memory attached to John Vianney too because
you were older than I thought.
well attached. That's true. What can I say? I've got an old soul.
He's an old soul.
Got recycled a couple times. So,
Anathema.
right after the abuse crisis back in 2001, I was 7 at that time, so I just remember images of it. But my parish priest at that point who was Father Mike Hawken, started adding John Vianney's name to the Eucharistic prayer. And so I just remember all of a sudden John Vianney started being mentioned every Mass. And that's because Father Mike Hawken was praying for the intercession of John Vianney during that time, and he continued that for my whole time when I was there. I don't know if he continues that any longer, but he would always say, to this saint, with the intercession, this saint, and then pause, John Vianney, and then move on.
Yeah, I guess because in the Eucharistic prayer, we are allowed to add the patron saint or whatever into Eucharistic prayer. 3, maybe not 1, just 3.
Not 1, just 3. Yeah.
So, and I often do pray Eucharistic prayer in non-pandemic times for Sundays. It's my usual one, but there's a lot of prayers I really like. You usually do 1 in non-pandemic. times.
1 or 3.
One or
Those
3.
2. Yeah.
But now, if you've watched, I am praying Eucharistic prayer too as fast as possible to try to stay within that 45-minute thing. But we don't add names to that. But when we do 3,
Nice.
thank you. I often add Saint Oscar Romero because we have our Romero Chapel. Because you can't offer Saint Good Shepherd because that's Jesus, right? But so the closest thing we have to a patron saint for our church is Oscar Romero. So that's why I usually remember him in the prayer because although the church isn't named after him, our chapel is. So
Right.
and that was really exciting. Neither of you were here for when it's canonization. We rededicated the chapel to Saint Oscar Romero. It was
I've
pretty
seen
cool.
pictures of that.
Yeah, it was at my. It was perfect because it was when I was installed as the pastor at Good Shepherd. It just
Really?
happened to coincide,
Oh wow.
and so the Archbishop was here, so he was able to do the dedication. So it's like, hey, while you're here, could you do the dedication for the chapel? So that was really neat. And then I see that. Hi, Karen. I see that Ava asks, what do the different acronyms mean following a priest's name?
It can depend on the certain case, really. That's a hard question because the acronym cannot mean one of two things.
Right.
Either a religious order or a degree.
Right.
So generally for secular priests, as we are, diocesan priests is another name, it would be a degree. So if you see JCL after someone's name, that means that they've got a licentiate in Juris Canone, license in canon law. If you see JCD, that means they've got a doctorate in canon law. If you see STL, got a license in theology, or a STD, which is a doctor in.
Which is a really unfortunate acronym.
It's yeah,
most of our bishops have STDs.
yeah, exactly. But in
Again, that means sacred theology doctorate.
right, because in Latin it's Sacrae Theologiae Doctor, which means, because that's the way that you use you use adjectives in Latin. So
Right, because I think that Naumann is STD, right? Or is he STL?
no, he's got a doctorate of divinity.
Oh, Doctor of Divinity. So
Well-
is it DD?
Yes, but he only got that because he was ordained a bishop. That's
Oh,
kind
really?
of an honorary title.
Oh, I see. I
In
didn't
his
know that.
case, yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
So you get that honorary title when you become a bishop in the Catholic Church. So a lot of bishops do have STDs or JCDs or other versions of those degrees. Naumann has a doctorate of divinity because of, I
Right.
believe, because of he was ordained a
Right.
bishop, and that's kind of an honorary title.
I mean, if I really wanted to be pretentious, I could be Father Kent O'Connor STB, which is actually not really pretentious. It's actually
Yeah.
would be
It's-
ridiculous
yeah.
because STB is a very Father Kent O'Connor STB MDiv. You know, that would be a little
Div.
ridiculous and pretentious.
Mhm.
Some people might, I mean, and even an STL, but an STD doctorate, maybe
Yeah.
you put that. At the
I
end
would
of
say
the
I would
day.
say STLs and JCLs would be where you would begin, because those are the ones that give you rights to teach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't. I would have to teach if I were to teach in a college. I could teach in a college. I'd have to be supervised by somebody else. Whereas an STL wouldn't have to have the same level of supervision.
Right, so it's like if you teach in a school, you have to have a license to teach. Otherwise, and if you get your teaching license revoked, well, you can't teach in a school, right? So similar, you can't teach in a university without the license to teach, and the JCL and the STL give you that license to teach in those higher education.
Or to practice law, or
Right. Yeah.
depending on each case. So.
Sure. Right.
So that's for secular priests. That's what you'll generally see. We generally don't put those behind our names unless there's a need to do so. It's like we're working in an academic situation, or
You publish a book. Maybe some people would do that if they felt that
Right,
necessary.
right.
well, right, exactly. And you wouldn't. You might need to be. I think that would probably be necessary in publishing a book in order to show your credentials. But the other way is if you're a religious order, you're a member of a religious order, like the Benedictines. You have OSB behind your name, Order of Saint Benedict, or the Franciscans. I don't know what they have behind their names. Order of Friars Minor.
Yeah. Or,
Yeah.
OFM
yes,
or
yes.
something like that.
The Capuchins, like there's some Capuchins in Lawrence.
Mhm.
The Capuchins used to be here.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh
but
yes.
They started
yes.
first.
I remember you saying that the other day. Now.
So that's an interesting thing too, because generally the distinction between secular priests and religious order priests, and secular means that we are in the world, secula, which means we are in the world, working in the world. There was generally kind of customarily, not traditionally with like tradition of the church, but customarily, OSF. Okay, there we are.
I don't know that one.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, I think that was the response to Franciscans, Order of
That's what
St.
I was
Francis.
And there are different congregations of Franciscans too, so it could
Mhm.
differ according to that.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, the
No,
distinction.
it's the Dominicans are minors.
No, they're OP.
Yeah,
Order
they're
of
preachers,
Preachers.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good job.
Thank you.
I don't know for Franciscans,
No, I'm not sure either.
but kind of customarily, priests that are secular priests would go by their last name, and religious priests who are members of religious orders would go by their first name because they actually received a new first
New
name.
name,
Yeah, right.
And so sometimes had been Sisters of St. Francis. Oh, okay, cool.
yeah. Okay.
There's so many variations. I don't really know them all.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially Franciscans.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of-
certainly.
a lot of variation
Yeah.
there.
All right, so that's. I think we're running a little long here, so I think that's kind
Oh,
of
you're
time.
right. Look at
Yeah.
that.
Well, you guys started a little bit late too.
Yeah.
Um,
It balances out.
yeah, that's right. John, do you have anything else to add today?
Not today.
All right, so. And so we'll be back tomorrow. I think it'll be the two of us tomorrow,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
so Father Ashmore is gonna, right?
Yeah,
Are
I
you-
guess.
You are welcome to be here.
Thank you.
It might be the three of us, or it might be the two of us. So we will just see.
I have no plans tomorrow. So
Okay.
I-
So anyway, Well, so generally in pre-pandemic times, I generally took Mondays off, and Father Ashmore generally took Tuesdays off, and that was nice too, because then we kind of had a crossover Monday kind of afternoon evening that sometimes we could do things together when we both kind of had some free time there.
Mm-hmm.
But in pandemic time, it's just different. So
Everything's right up.
So anyway, I want to make sure that he gets that freedom for Tuesdays should he want it. So he may or may not be here tomorrow. So, but John and I will be here for sure,
Yes,
and we'll tune in
absolutely.
tomorrow. And we have the rosary. We still have the rosary at noon.
Today?
Yes,
Yes.
today.
Sir.
We're trying to be consistent. It's a little bit more difficult nowadays with actual meetings and stuff. But, yeah, because our meeting on Wednesday is at 1. So we'll be here at noon, and then don't forget tonight. I believe that Mary Mueller is still doing the Monday musings with Mary Mueller. So I believe that's tonight at 7. So thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you next time.
Thank you all so much. God bless.
And so then this is this button here. That's the go live button and the go and not live
Go
button. So
on
when I
live.
go